Now I will share my screen. Okay, so due to the closure of City Hall by the COVID-19 pandemic, we are hosting this neighborhood meeting virtually. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the project webpage for anyone who is unable to attend the meeting. If you are watching the recording, you may reach me by phone at 425-556-2480 or by email at akares@redmond.gov. This information will also be shown at the end of the presentation and on the project webpage, so you can get a hold of me for comments and concerns that you might have. While the presentation is occurring, we do ask that participants remain on mute to avoid audio interference. Once the presentation has concluded, we will open the meeting for questions from the audience. In addition, please be kind and courteous when addressing staff and the applicant team. Any yelling, cursing, or otherwise unbecoming behavior may be grounds for removal from the meeting. So here is an overview of what I will be presenting. We will do a welcome introduction, a general site information, project details, the short plat permit outline, a discussion of the type 2 decision process and next steps, and then we will move on to questions and answers. So again, we are here today to introduce Jutta's Garden. This is a type 2 land use permit. We will get started with introductions. So again, I am Andrea Kears. I'm the planner with the City of Redmond, and I am joined by city review staff. So for transportation, we have Peter Lau. For stormwater, we have Janelle Hitch. For utilities, we have Hiba Awad, and then hopefully Scott Turner from Fire will be joining in a little bit. He was having some minor technical difficulties. And then we also have the applicant team. TC, if you would please introduce yourself and your team, that would be greatly appreciated.
I'm TC Colleran. I'm with Blue Line. We're the civil engineer and land planning firm that is helping out Murray Franklin with this development. And then I'll let Jenna introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Jenna Eastep, and I am the entitlement manager for Murray Franklin.
Perfect, thank you guys. And then just to confirm, you guys can all see my screen, correct? Perfect. So on the next slide, you can see that the project has frontage along both 151st Avenue Northeast as well as 152nd Avenue Northeast. It is located at the address 7360 151st Avenue, which is in an R5 zone of the Grassland neighborhood. The project proposes a short plat of the existing 1.47 acre property into 6 new lots. You can see from the site plan that 3 different driveways are proposed, one on 151st Avenue and 2 on 152nd Avenue. These driveways will be shared by the 6 homeowners, but 2 and 2 and 2. So the tree retention for the project is shown on this slide. The staff has received an arborist report where 21 significant trees were surveyed on the project site. A significant tree is defined as any healthy tree over 6 inches in diameter. Of the 21 significant trees identified, 8 are proposed for removal and 13 are proposed to be retained. Any tree approved for removal is required to be replaced on site at a ratio of 1:1. So from here, we will jump into the short plat process. So this is a type 2 land use process. The flow chart shows a high level overview of this process. And on the next slide, I will go into further detail. Here, you can see that the blue represents where the applicant is currently in the process. Green represents a future step, and gray represents a completed step. If the box is outlined in white, it means that this is the opportune time for public to provide questions, comments, and concerns. You can see here that the project is in the beginning stages of the process and the part of the process where the public is welcome to participate. Once the short plat process is completed, it will go into the coordinated civil review process, where more detailed engineered drawings are provided. Once the coordinated civil review is approved, that is when the project construction starts, and so does breaking ground. That will be followed by the final plat, where the lines between the properties are drawn, and then building permits may be applied for. We will now take a closer look at the type 2 short plat process. The applicant has submitted their formal application to short plat. The notice of application was sent out on December 29th, and you should have received the mailer and seen the yellow notice boards on the site. This is another avenue provided by the city with any comments on the project. So next is the neighborhood meeting. All three of these steps take place during the technical review of the project, where staff reviews for compliance with applicable codes. This can be a reoccurring process and could end up requiring multiple rounds of review until the project is compliant with city codes. Once the project is code compliant for short plat, the technical committee, which is comprised of the planning director and the public works director, will make a decision to require any additional info or deny or approve the project. Then the notice of decision letter is sent out, which starts the 14-day appeal period to the hearing examiner. A project may be appealed by parties of record. You can become a party of record by providing me with your first and last name, as well as a valid mailing address. If you choose to be a party of record, please feel free to email or call me, and I can get you added to the list. I will now hand this over to the applicant team for any additional information that they may want to add.
Thanks, Andrea. I think you covered it pretty well. Do you want me to share my screen, or do you want to bring up just that site plan that you had in your PowerPoint?
Yeah, you're welcome to bring up the site plan yourself if you have it available, just so you can use your mouse to point out what you're talking about.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. I think you did an excellent job giving an overview. This project is 6 lots in the R5 zone. The minimum lot size required in this zone is 5,500 square feet. We are proposing an average lot size of over 10,000 square feet, which fits in with the surrounding community. The lots adjacent and in this general area range in size from 8 to 9,000 square feet. So these lots will fit right in. All the lots are going to front on either 152nd or 151st. They're going to have shared driveways, as you mentioned. All the driveways have turnaround, so you don't have to back out on the 151st or 152nd to just minimize traffic movement. The site is also direct discharge. Therefore, there's a detention pipe or a pipe in 152nd that has capacity and goes all the way down to the Sammamish River, so there will be no detention required on site, and it will not create downstream issues. On site, you mentioned we're proposing to retain 62% of the trees. There are 6 landmark trees on site, and all 6 of them are proposed to be retained. Did you have anything else, Jenna?
No, not from a project specific standpoint. That's a good overview.
I would like to define that a landmark tree is considered any tree that is significant. So a tree that is healthy and is over 30 inches in diameter. So those are your big trees. Okay, if that is all from Jenna and TC, we can open up the floor to the applicants. So if you do have a question or a comment, please raise your hand by clicking the raise hand button in the Zoom screen and then clicking on the hand icon. Please help me track comments by stating your name clearly before asking your questions. Please also be aware that all questions are a matter of public record and will be incorporated into the decision document. If you wish to be a party of record and receive notification on future decisions for the project, please state your mailing address for the record. If you do not wish to state your mailing address aloud during the meeting, you are more than welcome to reach out to me separately by telephone at 425-556-2480 or by email at akares@redmond.gov. So with that, I will look for hands and we can move on to questions from residents. In addition, if you are calling on the phone and do not have the option to raise your hand, please feel free to speak up. Yeah, it looks like we have one raised hand. You are more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, hi. First, thank you so much for putting together this hearing. My name is Yi Zhou. We have a question about the construction timeline. I know we are still at the early stage, but I was wondering if we have a plan put together stating like when we are going to start the construction, to complete the construction, etc. Thank you.
I can probably field that one. As you noted, we are in the beginning stage. So once we have a preliminary plat approval, we will be going into our final engineering stage. And the goal would be to start construction next spring. So spring 2023.
Got it. Thank you.
You're
We have a timeline, like how long it takes to complete that project, because we are worried about noise. We are wondering how long it's gonna last.
I see TC has a thought. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, I mean, this project should actually be pretty straightforward because usually the detention vault is your longest timeline that are installing long runs of sewer, which sewer already exists to a majority of the site as well. So my hunch would be it'd be through the summer months and would probably be wrapped up by September. In terms of the improvements, you would still have home construction, which would be on a separate timeline, and those can't be started until you record your final plat and then you'd pull your homes. But the city of Redmond also has strict hours, which Andrea could probably touch on, or maybe not, that says, you know, no working on weekends, working from X time to X time to minimize that noise as well.
Would be correct. The city does not allow any noise before 7 a.m. And we do not allow any noise past 9 p.m. depending upon the day. The construction timelines allowed for noise on Saturdays are also reduced, and no construction is allowed on Sundays or holidays.
Got it. Thank you. Just one quick follow-up question. Are all 6 houses going to be built at the same time or sequentially?
They would all be built at pretty much the same time window. Once we get a final plat, we'll start pulling building permits on all of them at pretty much the same time. They may range a little bit, but I would say yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have one more hand up. Di, if you would like to speak, that would be great.
Hi, I just wanted to know if you could tell us what the height of the houses will be.
I can start with this one. So the city of Redmond has a limit of 35 feet in the R5 zones. None of the homes are permitted to be taller than that. However, the applicant may be proposing homes that are shorter than that in the event that they've gotten to the architectural drawing point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any more questions or concerns from residents in the meeting? We are more than happy to answer them if you would like. We are strong believers that the only silly questions are questions you don't ask. So feel free.
And I can offer when we do depart from this meeting, if any of you neighbors have any follow-up questions that you would like to have answered by either TC and I can give you my email address and you can email me directly, and I'll make sure to get those questions answered for you if you think of some later on.
Yeah, have my hand up.
Yeah, I just have another question about the picture TC shared. We are interested to know which trees are kept, which are not, and we need a little bit help understanding those legends. So if you could walk us through like those, what does those legend represent, that'd be great. I think you are muted.
Sorry about that. Andrea, this plan's at the public domain, so they can request it from you, right, if they need more info, but I can go through it on sheet, let me see, is it 13? We do have our zoomed in tree retention plan, and it has a legend on it here. And I'll zoom on the legend first. The dark tree that's hollow is just a normal tree. It's a tree over, I believe it's 8-inch DBH up to 29.9-inch DBH, and that's just
6 inches.
Oh,
6 inch DBH.
Okay, thank you. 6 to 29.9, and those are all significant trees. And the one that is grayed in is a landmark tree, and those are any trees 30 inches and greater. So those are the really big trees you see out on site. We are proposing to keep all those. So out here, you have 152nd to the right, and there's the 3 big evergreens there. If you've driven by the site, you see them. They're big. Those are all being kept. And then there's a pretty big grove or group over along 151st that are also being kept. We have had an arborist report done on it. Pictures were supplied. There were a couple, I think 2 trees that were in pretty poor health. There's that maple. If anyone that's lives in the neighborhood is familiar with, there's the maple on the corner. It's not very structurally sound. There's some rot, not in good condition. So it's the arborist said it was poor, could become a hazard to the community as it's developed. So those ones don't have a drip line around it, so they don't have a circle to indicate that they're a poor tree. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Thank you, TC. That was a great answer. Just to build off of that, the city does not consider any trees that are dead, diseased, dying, or hazardous as significant trees. So while there are more trees on site than the 21 that we kind of touched on during the presentation, because the city does not consider those significant trees, we don't include them on the plans, and we don't consider them in the tree retention calculations. The required tree retention for a development in the city is 35% of all trees on site, and the applicant is proposing to keep 62. Sorry, I muted myself somehow. Do we have any more questions? Now is the time to ask. If we don't have any more questions, we will probably end the meeting. But again, you are more than welcome to reach out to myself or the applicant or either of the folks here on the applicant team. We would all be more than happy to help you. Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. But again, if anyone does want to reach out to myself or get the contact information for the applicant team, you are more than welcome to reach me at 425-556-2480 or by email at akares@redmond.gov. And I can help you that way. And similarly, if you would like to be a party of record for the project, you are welcome to email me your name, first and last, and address, and I can add you to that list to receive updates on the project. And with that, we will end the meeting. So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, applicant team, so much for answering questions, and everyone have a great night.
Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thanks.